If I could transition to the other story we wanted to ask you about, it's tax filing season. It's officially underway this week, and we're hearing reports of massive backlogs that you're facing at the IRS, millions of unprocessed returns. What warning do you want to give our listeners and viewers today as they prepare to file?
So, Joe, what I can say is that this is going to be a frustrating tax filing season for the IRS, but also for tax filers. And what we can tell them is that the IRS is going to do everything they can to reduce that frustration. But in lots of ways, the challenges the IRS faces were brought on by the pandemic, but also by being underfunded for the last decade. Today at the IRS, they have as many employees as they had in 1970. Last year, the IRS received more than 119 million calls, when on average they had been receiving 35 million calls a year. So the president recognized this from the beginning, and it's why he's called for a budget increase for the IRS, and also as part of the Build Back Better, massive investments in the IRS to deal with these challenges. But in the short term, the key thing that we can do is make sure that people file their taxes online, that they make sure that the information is accurate, and the IRS is going to do everything they can to both deal with the backlog, but also answer questions from American people as they go forward.
Well, can you also give them some breathing room by moving back the deadline again, the filing deadline?
So, Joe, the reality is that we wanted to open up filing season as early as possible because the American people who want their refunds, we wanted to make sure that they could get their taxes in as quickly as possible. The truth is that if you file your taxes online, and all the information is accurate, you should get a refund within 21 days. That's why we're committed to opening up filing season as soon as possible. And we're encouraging people to do this online because that's the fastest way to get your refund, and to make sure that you don't, making sure you don't have errors will mean that the IRS is able to process your return quickly.
It sounds like, though, you are sticking with April 18th as a filing deadline this calendar year.
So that's our plan. People have options in terms of making sure that they can get the information in. Our goal is to make sure that we process that information as quickly as possible.
You're proposing an $80 billion infusion, right? That was part of the Build Back Better plan that has yet to be passed, obviously. I just wonder how much of that money would be used for enforcement, for enforcing the laws on the books?
So a great deal of the money, Joe, as you mentioned, will go towards enforcement. But it's important to realize that one of the greatest tools we have in America is we have a highly compliant citizenry. People comply with tax laws, and they want to comply. 83% of Americans pay their taxes on time is where we are. And we think that in order to help those people, it's also important that as part of that $80 billion proposal, there's money for services, to improve services so that we have more people answering the phone. But then the last piece, of course, is technology. Today, the IRS has systems that were built, technology systems that were built in the 1960s and 1970s. Improving that technology will help people who want to call the IRS can go online rather than going on the phone. It'll also put us in a better position to go after those people who are trying to avoid paying their taxes, because we'll have technology that will allow us to better analyze that data.
Lastly, Deputy Secretary, as we walk into another Fed meeting this week, I realize that you're going to defer questions about interest rates to the Federal Reserve, but as an economist, as someone who works at Treasury, helps to run the agency, I wonder how concerned you are about repeating history, that the tightening regime could go too far and push the economy into a recession.
Joe, you're completely right. One of the great things we have in our country is an independent Federal Reserve, and I'm going to defer to them. One of the things that we do here at Treasury is we look at all economic indicators. And in my conversations with CEOs over the last few weeks and months, what they've told me is that they're confident about the American economy in 2022. Demand for their goods and services is high. The labor market is tight. And one of the things they're asking us to do is take every step we can to encourage more people to come to work. And the thing we're going to focus on in the administration is taking steps to expand the capacity of the U.S. economy by bringing more people into the labor market, by dealing with supply chain issues, because we want to make sure that the growth we see in the economy continues not only for 2022, but for the years to come.